Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome our reigning U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau, to the interview room. Bryson, since we last saw you here in November, you continue to energize the sport with another victory at the Arnold Palmer Invitational in March, followed by a strong third-place finish at the Players. You're number one in driving distance, you're number one in strokes gained off the tee, you're number one in strokes gained tee to green. What are you focusing on right now with your game, and is there anything specific that you plan this week?
Well, thanks again, Tom, for having me here, and thanks, everybody. I think that this week is especially special for me, being, low amateur here and having a lot of great experiences here. My first hole-in-one on 16. I think that this week I'm going to be focusing on, given what I learned from the Masters last November, I'm going to be focusing mainly on accomplishing how do I hit iron shots into greens to give myself the best chance to, give myself just an ability to make birdie. I mean, there's a lot of times last year where, I hit decent enough drives and I just didn't feel like I was hitting shots into the correct quadrants of the greens or giving myself opportunities on par fives like I should have. But mainly, you look at numerous holes out there for myself, and I just didn't give myself opportunities on par fours. Number 3 was a great example. I just didn't put it in the right place. And then when I did, I three-putted one day. So I'm looking at opportunities, not just the par fives, but mainly the par fours for me and how I can attack those par fours to give myself the best opportunity to make a lot of birdies out there.
Great. Bob.
Bryson, how much has your caddy, Tim, contributed to your success? And if you could follow that answer with, did you appreciate him more when there was a short spell a few years ago where he wasn't working for you?
Yeah, Tim has meant the world to me. Tim Tucker has been rock solid no matter what, no matter when he wasn't working for me or no matter when he was working for me. We weren't winning. We weren't doing anything special or well. We were always trying to get better. There's been times where there's been some rifts, but just that's any relationship, that's any interaction with another human being. Sometimes it just happens, and fortunately enough, he loves me enough, and I love him enough to be able to say, hey, we're going to get through this together no matter what, and we're going to persevere and push through and work as a team to be the best we can. And so it's pretty cool how unique Tim is in regards to the fact that he, no matter what, will always try and figure out an easier way to do something, just like me, just in a little bit of a different way. But for the most part, he has that same mindset of determination, hard worker, and wants to find the best way to do something. And so there's been numerous instances where I've relied on him to say, hey, how can we do this a little bit better? And he'll come up with a cool idea or a cool thought that I'll be like, whoa, that's really cool. That's awesome. And so that's where I think he shines, is dedication and his ability to come up with cool, unique things that allow me to play better golf.
Rex.
Bryson, watched you on one yesterday. I think you hit 2 shots down the right-hand side. Was that the intended line? And
yeah.
What are you thinking on that hole?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to see how far right I can go, and if I do go right, I didn't walk up there, obviously, but I know that is the line I do want to take. It is a difficult tee shot off of the tee with a driver, so I may lay back just around the bunker level and hit a 9-iron or 8-iron in, whatever it is. But for the most part, that is the line. And again, just being comfortable at the first tee is a huge thing. If I can be comfortable off the first tee and get my round started right in a good direction and feel comfortable with the driver and everything, that's what kind of sets me up for the rest of the round.
Over the trees on the right.
Yeah.
That's another hole that you would have a similar, I don't want to say aggressive line, but maybe attacking line.
I got to think about that. Number 11, I could squeeze it down the right-hand side pretty far. 10, not really anything. Number 9, I can take it over the left trees and kind of get into that big expanse of grass, which is cool. 8, 7, 6, 5. I mean, hitting it over the bunkers. I did that yesterday into the wind, which was nice. So that gives me a lot of comfort that I can, get it over those bunkers and on a windy day. For 3, trying to drive the green this year. It's a little firmer this year, so I'll be able to do that. But that's really the one where it's going to be a little bit of a unique line if I do take driver.
Stephen, where are you? Oh, well, you're great. Ignacio.
I was there yesterday when you were hitting drivers every 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice exercise.
it is. I got a great workout in.
And at the moment, I started to think that maybe at the last fraction of a second is your extraordinary talent taking control and put everything together to make an extraordinary result. Do you think that you are extraordinarily talented?
Oh, well, you saying that makes me humbled, and I appreciate that. I don't know the extent of my talent. I know that I'm very dedicated, and whatever I set my mind to, I'm going to do. And I think that over the course of time, if you work hard enough and you're dedicated enough at something, it's going to look like extreme talent. It can be a co-variable of it. And I think that when I was younger, my dad always would tell me to try and hit weird wedge shots or weird iron shots around trees, make weird golf swings so that I could adapt on the spot. And I think that's where, from a young age, I grew up being able to solve these problems, albeit hitting a golf ball in really unique, weird ways. And so as I go to speed training, as I go to swinging it really hard, I'm still able to draw back on those memories of when I was younger, hitting a weird shot or trying to do a weird motion or swinging hard or chipping a shot or whatever it was. I became very good at adapting to the situation. And that was mainly a result of my dad teaching me it's okay to fail. It's okay to try things and mess up because it makes you more resilient. And that's where I think I learned that. And it's helped me grow into a golfer that I can try things and have, albeit may fail a couple times, it's going to allow me to understand the path that I need to go down. So from a talented perspective, I think it was a lot of hard work. My dad gave me a lot of great instruction, and Mike Shai gave me a lot of great instruction growing up. I think it's more of a hard work result than just being extremely talented.
Jimmy?
Hey, Bryson. You're obviously an analytical guy. I'm just wondering, when you look at Augusta National, is this a place that you should play well?
I certainly believe that to be the case. I think there is a place where I do put an expectation value that I think I have a good chance to play well here. The Players is a golf course that I don't think I should play as great on, given what I have off the tee and how it limits me. There's certain holes out here where length does help tremendously. And so as you look at it from a statistical point of view, there is a lot of advantages to be had with length for me. But again, you go up around those putting greens and you try to hit it into those those areas of the green where the pins are, and it becomes very diabolical. And so length is only as good as you can hit your next shot, is what I always say. And that's the most important thing about Augusta National, is that it doesn't test just the driving, it tests your second shots, it tests the third shot, it tests your putt you're making for par, your 4-footer you're trying to make for par. I think that's what's so special about here, is that you have to have every facet of your game working really, really well.
Ryan?
Bryson, there was obviously a lot of fascination with your quest for a 48-inch driver last time we were here at Augusta. Are you tinkering with anything equipment-wise that could give you a greater advantage?
Yeah, definitely. Working with Cobra on some new, unique, future designs. Obviously, there's something in the bag this week that's very helpful. I won't go into specifics of it, but just know this has been a few years in the making, and I'm very excited for it. Whether it helps me perform at a higher level, I'm not sure, because it's golf. You never know what happens, but definitely from what I've seen on the driving range and what I've seen last week in practice, there's some tremendous benefits to it.
Christine?
Bryson, down here. Little different golf question for you. As you know, George is in the news, obviously. And it brings up the topic of diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
And that's something golf has been working very hard. Fred Ridley has been working hard on. I'm just curious, with that in mind, being here in Georgia, how important is diversity and inclusion in your game? Thanks.
Yeah, well, it's incredibly important. I think that the most important thing we can do is treat everyone equally. And I think growing up, my dad told me that no matter what, you're going to treat everyone the way you want to be treated. And And so from my perspective on what's going on now, I think that you look at Augusta National and the PGA Tour and what we've been doing to grow the community and grow the sport, grow the charities that we're able to give back to. I think that's one of the most important things that we need to look at and start looking at this tournament and this championship as a positive light to the community, positive light to the world, and an opportunity to show people the great entertainment that we can provide to the world. I think that's one of the most important things. And as we look at it from that perspective, I hope we can all show people that the tour has plenty of diversity out here. And I think that's the most amazing thing, is that no matter what, if you work hard enough, you can get out to the tour and make it out here and you play Augusta National. I think Lee hitting the first tee shot is going to be amazing. I think there's just a lot of opportunities, great opportunities that have come around for Augusta National, the PGA Tour, to change the light of everything and make it a shining light in the darkness right now.
Daniel.
Bryson, I'm sure you saw at the Players, Rory said that when he saw you at Winged Foot, he said, I want some of that, and he tried to make some changes in his swing to make the distance chase like you did. What goes through your head when you see a player with that pedigree and that golf swing say that he tried to emulate you and that it kind of sent him down a rabbit hole?
Yeah, I think I talked about this a while ago, and I knew there was going to be people trying it. I didn't know who was going to try it, but it's not an easy task. You have to have 4 or 5 things go right in order for you to accomplish hitting it farther and hitting it straighter and implementing it on the golf course in a tournament round. And I appreciate Roy's words. I think that, and from my perspective, I wasn't trying to change anybody else's game. I was just trying to play the best golf I could, and I knew there would be people that would be influenced. I didn't think it would be Rory. I think he's a pretty smart, talented individual that knows how to play the game potentially better than me. And it's honoring and humbling to hear him say that this is a difficult task, and it's not everybody can do it all the time. And from my perspective, I don't know what else to say other than it's pretty cool. Yeah.
In the back, Hiromi.
Last year, it's Masters, there was no patron, and it was pretty empty and quiet. How did you feel the fans are finally back to cheer for you this year?
Yeah, I've already seen it in the practice round yesterday. I played 9 with Ollie and Kevin. Kevin and Ollie was runner-up in the U.S. Amateur, and obviously Kevin's a good friend, and we had a fun time just messing around with the crowd. There was a moment on 9, probably about a good minute and a half, where we were just joking around with the crowd. And it's fun to be able to interact with the crowd and get them going again. I think hearing those sounds, whenever somebody makes an eagle or amazing birdie or hole-in-one, those sounds down by Amen Corner and then by 15, 16 are going to be pretty special. Hearing that again, we haven't heard that in a while.
Steve.
Bryson, in November, you dealt with some physical issues. How's your state of being right now?
I appreciate you asking me. Thank you. No, it's a lot better, way better. There was some interesting things that went on. Took about 4 or 5 months to figure out what it was. We went through CT scans, X-rays, cardioid measurement. We had ultrasound on my heart. We had measurement of the blood vessels on my neck. We had, you name it, we did it. Sinus, CT scan measurements, infection checks, and everything. We couldn't find anything. There was literally nothing. And then one day I was talking with NeuroPeak, and we went over a couple things with the brain. Obviously, the brain was stressed still and wasn't feeling that great. And they're like, well, let's check out, your oxygen levels. And so we never measured oxygen levels or anything like that. And there was something there. And immediately from after changing the way I was breathing, the way I was, feeling that day from breathing, it took it out. It literally just went away. And so very blessed to be able to have somebody that works hard in helping me figure out my body, and they were able to help me out in that regard. And ever since then, I've been okay. So knock on wood.
And could you give a couple of instances of how different the course is playing now as opposed to November, and has that changed your approach to how you're going to deal with it?
I would say that for the most part, the golf course is going to play different, but I think there's opportunities where the ball will roll out. One of them being number 2. If you can hit a drive down that hill with 2,000 spin. It's going to roll pretty far. Everybody's been talking about 13. Well, 13, it's pitched in, so if I'm to fly it in that slope, it's not really going to run out that much, even from last November. A few other examples. Number 9, everybody's going to be rolling down the hill for the most part. Number 8, it's still into the hill. You're landing into the hill, but you can get some more rollout. Number 7, you can hit a shorter club and have it roll out, which would be great. There's just numerous instances on the golf course. Even 3, you're going to be able to bounce and almost roll it up the hill, at least for my driver, instead of it just hitting and stopping like it did last November. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be numerous instances where it's playing a lot differently, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great challenge. I love firm, fast golf courses. Clearly, the U.S. Open was one that I loved and enjoyed the test of, and I think this week will be no different. It's going to test every facet of your game. The greens are already firm and fast. We had a whole location on 17. I played Sunday, and it was up on the front part of the green, about 5 or 6 on, and if you just got it past the hole, it would roll off the front of the green. I mean, literally, it moves a dimple, and it's gone. So it's pretty unique and interesting. I've never seen it this fast, this quick, this early, but I certainly love the challenge.
Bryson, we have a remote question from Bernie McGuire. What was the best advice that you received ahead of your Masters debut, and what advice would you give to someone making their Masters debut this week?
Well, it's funny you say that. I had a conversation with Ollie last night, and again, he was a runner-up in the U.S. Amateur, and I said one of the most important things is to enjoy the lows and enjoy the highs, no matter what happens. For example, on 18, my second round as an amateur, I made triple and hit into the holly bush, and I was one back of the lead and made a triple. And so through that moment in time, I realized that, yes, this is an important event, but it's more than just a golf event. It's an opportunity for yourself to show yourself to the world as a human being, not as a golfer. There's going to be highs and lows, and when that low comes around, you got to be able to be bigger than the moment, in a sense, and not let the moment get to you. And so that was one of the most important things I told them, is that there's going to be nervous moments. Make sure you enjoy those moments.
Daniel?
Bryson, you've done a lot over the years to try and improve your game. How far are you willing to go, maybe down the rabbit hole, to try and win a green jacket?
I mean, I'm still going down numerous rabbit holes, and I will never stop, not only to win golf tournaments, but to definitely win this tournament. I mean, this has been on my radar since I was a kid, and now that I've accomplished winning the U.S. Open, this is the next goal for me, and I will not stop my pursuit of knowledge of the game, knowledge of the body, knowledge of the golf swing, to give myself the best opportunity to win. At the end of the day, it comes down to execution. You got to be able to go out there and hit a great shot and execute when the pressure comes around. So it's funny you say that, because I can give myself the most advantages all day long, but if I don't go out there and just execute, it doesn't really mean much.
Tara.
Thank you. Bryson, you and so many of your fellow golfers, get up there and talk about how much you love this specific place, this specific tournament, this specific course, and we get that. However, many of you end up answering questions about other things that have to do with Augusta National, whether it be the current situation in Georgia, the law, or membership, or diversity. Do you ever have to reconcile that? Did you have to reconcile anything in your brain coming to Georgia, given what the state is going through at the moment? Do you think about that?
How do I think about?
Just kind of having to answer these, Augusta has issues separate of the golf, and you guys are sometimes thrown into that mix because you're the golfers.
I think I am obviously a spotlight. I think all of us players are a spotlight, and we have an obligation to try and be a light and try to show that a great example of who us players are, who we are, and what we try and accomplish in the best ways possible. We try and show that no matter what happens, we're going to do our best to be an example for the world. And I think that when those times come about, we have an opportunity to show the world what we can provide. And from my perspective, it is a little different for us, given that I'm not necessarily the perfect example to be talking about it, because I don't know the full scope of the law or the full scope of what's going on. But again, like I said, we will do our best, and we have done our best to show how much we've given back to the community, how much we've done for the community, and I'm sure we'll continue to do so. That's something that I'm willing to give back on. That's something that every tour player is willing to give back on. I think, just everybody in general is.
Maybe a couple more questions. Scott?
Bryson, we're talking about how much firmer and faster it is than November. Does that enhance your advantage in length, or does it actually bring the rest of the field maybe a little closer to you?
It's a great question. I don't know the full scope of that answer, but from what I've experienced in the past, making it firmer and faster is, for some reason, helped me play a little bit better. I just feel like wet conditions and landing and stopping and the golf ball being wet has played a little bit to me not knowing fully what the golf ball is going to do. So whenever it's firmer, faster conditions, whether it be Shriners, whether it be Bay Hill or the U.S. Open or different golf courses that I've won at, they've usually always been firm. And so I think that plays into my hand nicely for what I'm comfortable with. Now, whether everybody else it's an advantage to, I don't know. I know that hitting as far as I am, having wedges into greens with firm greens, I'm going to be able to stop it on the greens a lot easier. But that doesn't mean that I'll be able to control the golf ball as well as somebody else. So somebody could go out and hit a golf ball more consistently with more control than me, and they'll beat me. But for the most part, it has played well in numerous situations for me.
Bill?
Bryson, last year there was a lot of talk that culturally you were leading a revolution in golf, especially among young fans who were really, as Tom said, energized by the way you swung the golf club and all those things. If that's so, at what stage is the revolution now?
Oh, man, I don't know the scope of that answer either. You guys are giving me tough questions today, but I will say the drive, chip, and putt, what we saw with one of the kids imitating Kyle Berkshire was pretty cool. You're already starting to see it with kids. And I've had numerous college kids DM me on Instagram and ask me, how do I get stronger, how do I get faster? And so you're already starting to see it through from collegiate level all the way to junior golf level. And I think as time goes on, there's not really much more to gain from a technology side of golf club manufacturing building. There are little things that we can do, but where the massive gains will be is in athletes. I think once you get somebody out here that's a 7-foot tall human being and they're able to swing at a golf club at 145 miles an hour effortlessly, that's when things get a little interesting. That's when I'm going to become obsolete potentially even. And, look, there's still a chipping aspect, there's still a putting aspect to it. But from a driving aspect, that's where the gains will be had, is with these athletes coming out in the future. And it won't stop. There's just no way it'll stop. I think it's good for the game, too. I don't think it's a bad thing. You're bringing and making it more inclusive to everybody when you're doing that. The athletes are the ones that are going to, in the end, move the needle in any sport you play. And I think that's pretty amazing.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.